All right, so let me screen share and we'll be looking at the AP exam, what it looks like from your point of view, or at least, excuse me, I shouldn't say that, from my point of view, which is slightly different, but I'll be able to see your work in progress. This is extremely important because once you submit your work to the teacher or forward it to teacher, the idea is that I'm supposed to glance at it, make sure you've done everything you're supposed to, you've checked all the boxes, etc., and then I forward it on to Mr. Nance. Now, as you can see from this screen, only one of you, Kayla, has uploaded some stuff. Now that's okay, but you could have done it already and be working on it. While your portfolio is in progress, while it's in progress, I can see it. Once we send it to Jack Nance, it's gone. I can't look at it anymore. When you forward to teacher, that is you telling me it is all done. So don't do that until you are finished. What you need to do though is get stuff in there immediately so that status is in progress and I can start seeing how you're doing things. Okay. Next, thanks to Kayla, I'm going to share her what she's got on her portfolio, and this will help the rest of you. First thing is the most important thing is sustained investigations, and there are 15 of those. Okay. 15 spaces, excuse me. What you want to include in these are the finished pieces for sure. And you can see it's pretty obvious which ones are the finished pieces with Kayla's work here. And then also process or progress pieces, also things that may have inspired pieces. Now, the inspirations should be near the picture that they are related to. So for example, here's this picture of this woman looking into a jar. She sees a heart in the jar. And then number 6, right next to it, you can see some idea sketches for this very same picture. Okay, keep them together. All right. Notice it's asking for height and width. You all have the pieces with you, so that should be easy for you to just measure them. Most of them are the same size. You've been working on canvas pad, etc. Materials, literally write what you use. Okay, so ink, watercolor, paper, paint, mixed media, write as many things as you remember using on your projects. Processes, notice 100 characters only. So that'll allow you to kind of say like maybe what you did first. I laid down a pencil layer first, then I adjusted my original composition sketch, and then I applied ink or anything. While I was painting it, I realized the brains needed to have more mushrooms. So I added more while I was working on it, that kind of thing. That's all they want to know on processes. Don't make it harder than it is, guys. What I mean is literally just include a person, the judges in this case, in how you did the thing. That's all they want to know. Okay. Remember that a few years ago, they had some major issues with plagiarism on the AP test. People were just finding cool work and copying it. Obviously, you can't do that. So they've added this whole area of process. They want to know what your choices are. Why'd you do the things you did? Okay. So that's materials, processes, size. Now, as far as how to put these on the page, I would normally put a most important or a strong piece in the one spot. I'd put a very strong piece in the last spot, 15. Okay, so you might want to switch these. That's okay. Because most judges, most humans will check those 2 spots first. Okay. The last places they check, you can guess the middle. So if you have any weak pieces, to be honest, you want to hide them in the middle. 5, 8, 11 even. Those are what we call the middle. Those are the ones that honestly people just glance over sometimes. Never put one of your strongest pieces in these places. For example, Kayla's got number 11 right here, which looks fantastic. Yeah, I wouldn't put that in 11. It has a lot of interesting things going on. Maybe switch it. Okay. If you're not sure what pieces are strong, what's weak, it's really up to you. I would say keep in mind, they're going to be looking at all of your pictures on screen at once. When they click them, it opens up and it shows them the picture more clearly, larger. It also shows them the materials and the processes part. Okay. In other words, the first thing they see is just all the pictures. Okay. Then they're supposed to click on each one and look through them. Okay. So that's the sustained investigation. Again, put the materials, put your process, and the process could be the same. You don't have to have it unique for each one. For example, once you figured out how you wanted to make these things, your process may have been very similar. I did some research on blank. I found out this and that. I did some rough sketches. I created a sketch on canvas and then I painted it in acrylic. I went from lights to darks. I added thicker paint here and there. Whatever the case may be, they literally just want to know what you did. That's for sustained investigation. The next thing is the written evidence for that. This is you having the judge in the room with you, telling them about what you did. That's it. Don't make it harder than it is. Don't simplify, but don't make it harder than it is. Number one, identify the questions or inquiry. That's kind of like your thesis statement. I wanted to learn more about myself by exploring blah, 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 because this and that, and it's meaningful to me, period. Number one is a short answer. Number two, you can lay out as much evidence. That's why they call it evidence for the things you are saying in number one. Okay, so you said your work is about a personal exploration of blah, blah through the through the symbols of the zodiac. Okay, number two, prove that. Well, in image number 4, for example, blah, blah, blah. And you don't have to write like you're writing an essay. Yeah, I put for example, because I'm just a writer, but really you could leave that stuff out if word count is concerned for you. Okay. Now, the test, to be honest, you've done it already, right? You've been making all artwork. Now it's just about adding it into the right place. So that's not a big deal. You just got to put it in the right place, okay? And explain. Again, remember, this is not an English test. They're not judging you for your words. They are judging the quality of the work and the concept as far as sustained investigation goes, okay? Quality of the work, the concept. All right, so images, get them uploaded as soon as you can so you can start looking at them. When you place an image, you are allowed to reshuffle them and move them around. That's no problem. You can upload, you can take it out, delete it, put them back in, no problem. Written evidence, I definitely recommend you write it in an actual writing program like Word or something that'll catch some spell check. Again, it is not a English test. You don't worry yourself in that respect. You want to speak or write clearly and just tell them, what is your idea? Don't be embarrassed. Explain it clearly. You won't have to do it in person. Okay. Now let me talk about selected works. Selected works is your opportunity to show them what else you can do. So even though, Kayla, you've already put in these 2 pieces, which are lovely, and I think from last year, that's fine. They are very similar, except the collage one, to some of the other stuff you've already submitted. In other words, I would submit in your selected works, folks, things that show your range as an artist. That's what they're looking for. Okay, so for example, Kayla's entire sustained investigation is ink, and the color stuff are her sketches. So as a judge, I would wonder if Kayla can paint, because I think in an AP test or an AP class, college level does equal knowing how to paint. So you guys have done a few paintings this year. This is why we did those things. Remember the non-sustained investigation things we did? Those are what these are for. That's what these were for. So acrylic still life, a Day of the Dead project, fantastic flowers. Also, if you had art last year, you may include that stuff too. So Kayla's in great shape because she has other things to choose from last year. But Amy and Michelle, you have work from this year that isn't part of the sustained investigation, so you should be fine as well. It could be pencil work, it could be any other work in any other media. If it has to be in the same media, that's fine too. It shows a connection between the 2 sets of work, and that's okay. But just think of what selected works is for. It's for you to show off your skills. And I don't mean you have to show one of everything. Oh, well, I should put in a pencil drawing. I should put in a painting. Not if they're not that great. They're great, put them in. But if you're like, well, I have 2 really nice paintings, but I noticed I didn't put in a pencil drawing. This pencil drawing is not that great, but it'll make it kind of an evened out portfolio. Don't do that. Strong pieces first, no matter what the medium, okay? And then go by, have I presented myself as a well-rounded artist? Okay. Now, next thing under selected works, you have the pieces themselves, and then you have different questions, or at least one extra question. Size, again, is there. And then you've got ideas. because these aren't part of the theme or sustained investigation, they want to know what is this? What are you doing here? So this is where you can explain. Maybe it was part of an assignment, this and that. I recommend writing words like something from last year, reworked something from last year. Try to avoid using the phrase last year. It is acceptable to include work from last year, but I don't think you want to keep reminding the judges that this is all from last year. A lot of it is, okay? All right, so ideas. If the project had a specific purpose, Festival of Western Arts, we were to design an image using cowboys, Native Americans in connection with a show in town. All right. The idea is I looked up famous cowboys and wanted to show how they learned how to ride horses from the Native Americans. Whatever. Okay. For a Day of the Dead project, for Fantastic Flowers, they all have reasons. If you want to cheat a little, you could look at the assignment themselves in Canvas and see what I was asking for as a teacher, but it's pretty simple. Still life using monochromatic colors, blah, blah, blah. Materials, again, same thing as the other section, sustained investigation. Explain what it is you used. For this section, it might be different from the other stuff that you used for your sustained investigation. If not, that's fine, but if it is, for sure you want to write that. Processes, that's the same thing as you did before. Here's an example Kayla did. Thank you again, Kayla, for allowing me to use your work to share and teach others. I thoroughly appreciate it. Idea, using a magazine that focuses on the pandemic, the work represents individuals living through it, pandemic, okay? Make sure you are clear in what you are saying about your work, okay? The only thing I would suggest here is statement about what it is you're trying to say. Using a magazine that focuses on the pandemic, the work represents individuals living through it and how they are dealing with it, or have a perspective if possible. Materials, you put that color pencils, ink, pencil, magazine. I would put magazine clippings maybe. And then processes, recycled older art pieces, ripped up specific features in magazine, glued everything down. Okay, nice. You might also want to talk about how you planned it. How did you do the layout? In other words, did you draw something first and then make the collage to match what you drew? Or did you cut out things and then start rearranging them on a table, worked on it over time, whatever the case may be, okay? So that's the selected works. Again, it's your opportunity to show them what else you can do as an artist. Think of it this way. What if I were an abstract artist? What if I was a student doing the AP test and my work looked like this stuff behind me? I would say, okay, well, that's pretty interesting, but can you actually draw people and fruits and baskets and things? Because that's not necessarily the most important thing, but it does show that you know a whole bunch about art and you're good to get college credit for it while you're still in high school. Remember what getting a passing grade on this test means. It means that you are doing college level artwork. That's what it means, okay? So that's a high bar. So when you look at your pieces and you think you're finished with them, just double check. Is this college level? How would you know? I would say do your best and definitely look for lights and darks. If it's one thing that people finally figure out once they go to college, it's contrast and shading, because the teachers won't let you turn anything in that doesn't have it. So make sure that when you squint at your pictures, they don't disappear, that you can still see. Look for lights and darks. Also, contrast helps when the images are small. Remember, they're not seeing your pieces in real life anymore. It's got to look good on screen. And you know how it is. Contrast, the difference between light and dark, attracts our attention and makes us want to look closer at a thing. You want them to look closer at a thing, okay? Your thing, your art, for sure. Okay, so make sure that your pieces have contrast. Kayla has built-in contrast automatic, honestly, because she's using ink, black ink on white paper. However, even then you can still see when you squint some areas where perhaps you could add shading, lines, a few dots. You remember that you guys are all working in a style as well as subject and all of that. And your style, right, is personal. And your style, like in writing, uses some of the rules of art, some of the things you've been taught, but you also go out and do things on your own. They want to know that. You don't have to do things the way everyone else does, especially not in art. In math, yeah, you do. You don't do it, you won't get the right answer. But that is not the case with art. If you have reasons for the things you've done or choices you've made, put them in there under processes. I purposely filled in her eyes solid black because, any indication or clue that you're a thinking artist is what they want to know and hear. Okay. All right. Now, thank you again, Kayla, for sharing with me on that, or sharing all of us. Okay. If you guys have any questions, let me know. You can text me. I'll probably get that faster if I'm just at home. Otherwise, I'm going to be on this computer at least during school hours today, and I'll check again later tonight if you guys have turned in anything. But get stuff in there in progress so I can look at it, okay? And then if you have questions, send me a text or an email through Canvas or whatever, okay? You guys will do fine. You have to be clear about what you did with your work, explain it, okay? Any questions? Kayla, Michelle, Amy? You got it? To be honest, I never worry too much about the AP exam day in art because the work's already been done. You and I have individually talked and worked together on your pieces throughout the whole school year. I've given you feedback. If I thought something, didn't work or needed to be fixed, I let you know. If I didn't say something about anything, a particular piece, whatever, give you full credit. This is awesome. You did great. You took it to a different place, somewhere I haven't been maybe necessarily, and that's the kind of stuff you want to do with your work and how in a way to impress. Okay, so showcase your work, show it off, talk it up. Okay, don't downplay your work, talk it up for sure, especially the pieces that you think aren't that great. To be honest, you have to sell it. Okay. All right, Kayla, Michelle, Amy, if you guys have any questions, you just let me know. Okay, I'm here for you, and mostly my priority today is to make sure that you guys get your stuff uploaded and it looks good. Okay, so be checking for responses from me if you do put stuff in there, and please do. Sooner the better we can get this thing done and out of your life. Okay, you all have the possibility to pass this exam for sure, right? Okay, good luck, Saints. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are doing great. And congratulations on